Transport. Apply online or at your local post office or contact the Seniors Card Unit on 1800 819 961. A message from the Government of South Australia.
In a eucalypt-clad gully in the foothills of Tea Tree Gully, you'll find Newman's Nursery, judged Australia's best garden centre. Enjoy a stroll in Newman's established display gardens. Browse Adelaide's largest range of versatile camellias, perfect for hedges, espalier, topiary, pot and garden culture. There's also deciduous trees, fruit trees, conifers, flower and vegetable seedlings, azaleas and more. Isn't it time you discovered the horticulturalists at Newman's accredited garden centre? 1361 North East Road, Tea Tree Gully, just into the hills. Open every day.
Another 5AA magic moment thanks to harveynorman.com.au. Making shopping easier. Shop in-store or online.
Quickly kicked in the forward line. Sells! Over the back, Johnny Butcher roads it. He's running into an open goal. He's kicked it. Johnny Caveman Butcher.
Number one for football. $13.95. Adelaide's 5AA.
Interactive radio.
Call 8223 0000.
Peter Godfrey.
Good morning, 19 past 5. Another text from Skater, the truck driver, with another icon. What about Fritz? He says. Yes, we've had Fritz mentioned. Fritz and sauce sandwiches. Absolutely. See, we've got a lot of food icons, haven't we? Hey, let's head across to New Zealand now. Selwyn Manning joins us from New Zealand, from livenews.co.nz. How are you, Selwyn?
Yeah, very good, Peter. How are things over there?
Oh, not too bad, not too bad. We've been talking a bit about food. I'm getting hungry.
Yeah, that time of the day for you after the graveyard shift.
I know, starving. I'd love a nice big pie or something like that would be good. But soon. Yes. Let's get on to some news from your part of the world. Now, this is you spoke about this particular story when it was happening. The new development, though, the Crown has decided it won't seek a retrial against the group dubbed as the Urewera Four, who were accused of being part of an organised criminal group. So how's this come about?
Yeah, this is it came about where back in March, a well-known activist here, Tama Iti, Tarangi Kimura, Urs Singer and Emily Bailey, they were found guilty on a number of firearms charges, but the jury could not reach a verdict on the lead charge, or the main charge of being part of a organised criminal group. Now, this all goes back to 2007. You probably remember, Peter, to refresh this issue here, back to 2007, where the police and other security agencies swooped onto the central east North Island community of Ruatoki in the Urewera Ranges. It's a very isolated part of New Zealand. The commando squads, all decked out in camouflage, etc., helicopters in the air with sniper rifles out the doors and everything. It's a Māori community down there that is the place where Tama Iti lives. Now, at that stage, it was around 17 people were arrested on New Zealand's Terrorism Suppression Act law, which was a new law that had come in at that time. Now, over the years since 2007, the Crown's case had been wheedled away in both the number of those who were accused and also the severity of the charge. And the charge went down from that Terrorism Suppression Act laws down to this organised criminal group charge. Now, the accusation was that Tama Iti and the other co-accused were leading a group that was preparing, basically, to instigate or to retaliate in some form of warfare with the New Zealand state. Now, at the end of the lengthy trial, it went from that 17 co-accused down to the remaining 4. All the others were dropped. Now, in the trial that went from late last year through to March, at the end, the jury could not reach that decision on whether or not they were taking part in an organised criminal group. They were convicted. The 4 were convicted on the secondary charge of firearms charges, which was expected to be highly unlikely if they were convicted on those, that they would have a custodial sentence. Now, because it was a hung jury on the more severe charge of criminal organisation group, the High Court in Auckland had to reconsider whether or not it would hold another trial on those charges. And yesterday, the call came through with, no, it's not in the public interest for it to do so.
All right. Did they elaborate on why that decision was made?
The statement was leading to the view that another trial would most likely not reach a conclusion as well, and that the public interest expectation that a conviction would come through on this was not elevated high enough to be able to justify it. The cost of this whole thing has been, as you would imagine, well into the millions of dollars. Not that even excluding the millions that was spent on this police-led swoop on the Ruatoki community. Got to say that at that time, when the operation was rolled out back in 2007, young children, mothers, the elderly were all lined up for most of that day, excluded from support from their own family, or as it's referred to here, whānau, while the police went through every little thing, as you imagine, with a severe charge behind it. The police be extremely thorough in their investigations and their searches, and et cetera, et cetera. The human impact aspect of this on the innocents in that community is huge, and that's one of the shameful things, that if at the end of the day there was not enough evidence to actually get a conviction to justify such an operation, then there are those, particularly coming from the activist community, who are saying, really, the police have something to answer and explain here.
Okay.
But I mean,
now that ruling won't have any effect on the firearms charges and the sentencing that's happening later this month, isn't it?
Yeah. What's happening there, though, the group is now seeking to have those dropped. So whether or not that's successful in that time will tell. The expectation is that with the firearms charges there would not be a custodial sentence. And in some of the cases, in some of the charges that were dropped on other co-accused earlier along the line, going back, say, 18 months ago, some of the firearms charges kind of made, reasonably minded people to, I guess, is the legal term that's often used to raise an eyebrow at, really, would the police be serious in actually charging a person with this? And then there were other, things that came through in the court that made people think, well, these 4 co-accused do have some explaining to do.
Yeah.
There was a lot of training, commando-style training in army fatigues, a lot of firearms, whether or not they were loaded or not. It's difficult to tell by the police video surveillance. There was evidence that there was bottles with an inflammatory liquid in them with a rag stuck in the top that had been tried out against block wall, etc.
Yeah.
And the video footage was quite compelling, seeing people that were reasonably well known in New Zealand for their activist work seen running around the bush looking like they were training to be some sort of commando. So there was enough, you could see that there was enough concern for the authorities to actually make a move there. But whether or not it was justified to go in under the Terrorism Suppression Act, which is, that law was designed to be enacted when there was very high degrees of belief that real bona fide terrorists were preparing to strike.
Okay. Yep.
And that's kind of been an area where many people, including in the judicial fraternity, have been frowning on the decisions made by the police back then.
All right, on to another story. The New Zealand government, the Nationals, about to roll out a new welfare policy. Women on benefits, including teenagers and the daughters of beneficiaries, to be offered free long-term contraception. Getting a lot of sort of reporting on that and support and opposition to it.
Yeah, I heard you say in the build-up, Peter, that there's been some coverage over in Australia on that
there's
too.
been a few newspaper stories here.
Yeah. I mean, the group, the general public being polled on this is very supportive of it. I'll put that in the first instance of it. But many groups are kind of coming through, and the opposition political groups are included in this, obviously, and they're saying, well, actually, no, this is not good enough. The government here is selecting out people that it classifies as poor people, that are welfare dependent, and it is basically indicating that it does not, to put it crudely, Peter, does not want them to breed. And many groups are absolutely horrified that the group has been singled out here. They are being identified via the social welfare agency that they interact with for their benefits. From this year all women, for example, on a benefit, that's all women on a benefit, and 16 to 19-year-olds, including their daughters of beneficiaries, will be able to obtain a special needs grant for long-term acting, what they say is reversible contraception. And that involves all sorts of, there's 4 different types of methods there that the government would be paying for. Now, the Family Planning Association in New Zealand, it is saying, well, actually, the government shouldn't single out these women. If it's going to do such a thing, make a move on a policy like this, it should be for all women, and it should be directed on choice. There shouldn't be any coercion via the social welfare agency. It should be one where it is just there as a policy, and if it's used, it's used. If it's not, it's not. To actually have it targeted via the welfare agency is one where there's an element of coercion coming through. Those are the accusations that are coming through. The government is defending this policy vigorously via the television media mainly, and saying, no, we actually care for these people. In many cases, people are not able to not able to reduce the number of children they're having. So it's kind of a presumptuous kind of position the government's taking in many ways. But so the debate is very, very huge here at the moment, Peter, and no doubt will be some time before it is.
It sounds that way. All right, Selwyn, that's all we've got time for, unfortunately, this morning. Yeah. Thank you so much, and we will talk to you again same time next week.
Okay, Peter.
Thanks, Selwyn. Selwyn Manning in New Zealand. Find out more, head to his website, livenews.co.nz. 5:29, Ann Stone's got news, sport and weather next.
Hey guys, it's Rowie here. If you're like me and always have a tough time sorting out a Mother's Day present, we're helping you out this year. Listen for my code word in breakfast each morning, tune in to Drive that afternoon, and if you can tell us what the code word is, you'll win a great Mother's Day prize from Brooksy's Good Guys at Mile End. Don't thank me. Thank Brooksy's Good Guys Mile End, the ultimate place to find your gifts for Mum this Mother's Day, and $13.95 Adelaide's 5AA.
Angus Securities, Adelaide's fixed interest specialists.
5:30 on 5AA, a possible late shower today with a top of 21. I'm Ann Stone with Adelaide's comprehensive news. There's more trouble for embattled former Labor MP Craig Thomson. As Michelle Taverniti reports, it's now claimed he broke parliamentary rules by failing to declare the ALP was paying his legal costs.
News Limited reports embattled crossbencher Craig Thomson